I'm the client. Okay, I'm the one who's going to be stuck with that graphic. So at the end, I need to feel good about it, and it needs to fulfill what I need it to do. So as the designer, you cannot make those decisions, and you cannot especially make those decisions if you're not presenting to me, the trial version that I asked for.
Proof
right?
of work. Yeah.
Proof that it doesn't work. Proof me that it doesn't work. I want to see it. It's like, this design is not about you, designer. It's not about me, the client, either. It's about the project and what it needs to be.
I mean, I think you bring up an interesting point that it's not about the client and it's not about the designer. It's about objectively, it's about the thing itself. And that's I think a fascinating way of looking at design, period. I think is one that should be employed more often. I mean, this is where it's so weird. Like, you flip to the client side and you have these emotions. Like, this is not like graphic designer. This is not about you. This is about what I want because I'm the client and I'm paying you. How many times have I heard that from a client, though? And when I'm the designer, I'm like, yeah, but fuck off, client, because you don't know what the hell you're talking about. You're going to ruin the design, right?
Yeah, but a good designer, you have your own taste and you think what is good and what it should be, and the client has that too. Yeah. At the end of the day, it's some kind of compromise, and
there's
as a professional, you're there to guide them in a way that makes sense. Yeah. It doesn't mean it's not about winning. It's really about give the best outcome to what it should be.
So I think there's a couple layers to this. The first is that there's I think for sure what you said about thinking, viewing the design as not as separate from all parties is very interesting. That's like almost impossible to do, but it does mean at the very least there's like negotiations between the client and the designer to produce the design. There's the back and forth, and you try to be as objective as possible and rationale or respectful at the very least, right? So that's one thing. I think the other aspect is that there's different kinds of projects and different kinds of designers and different reasons why you hire someone. So if Andy Warhol decided to get into architecture and he were still alive, and I'm a client and I decide I'm going to hire Andy Warhol to design my house, it's because I want an Andy Warhol house, right? I know as a client, I am giving up some authority and authorship over my house. If I can hire Andy Warhol, I probably have multiple houses anyway, so less I feel less attached to it. But I know I'm giving up some authorship because I'm going with Andy Warhol. That's what I'm paying for. That's what I want. I want to see him do his thing, right? And this is where like the line between designer and artist gets blurred, and that's where you kind of begin to cross over. You could argue, right? So that's a different kind of client to designer relationship when you're hiring someone because you want their expertise and you're acknowledging upfront, probably because of the cost, that you're giving up some authority, right? And the other type of project is the opposite, where typically there's less money, right? And you're not hiring an Andy Warhol or someone you greatly expect, respect. You're hiring someone who will get the job done for what you're looking for, and you have something very specific in mind, right? So those are very different things. And I'm not saying that designers should not be respected if they get paid less, and they should only be respected for their opinions and if they get paid a lot of money. But there are different scenarios. So in this case, obviously, you have two architects, designers, hiring other designers to do a graphic design project, and they're very specific about what they're looking for, right? And we're working on a tight budget. This is not the design ego artistic genius expression, really, right? We're open to that, but also, if I'm the client and I ask you, and I say I want this, it's probably a good idea to at least show that option, especially if it's easy to do, and it takes you all of 30 seconds to do that.
Well, especially if, the first round you did like 15 iterations of the same shit, just